Liam and Clara had been married for 12 years, a relationship that once felt like a fairy tale but had gradually settled into the monotony of routine. They had met in their late 20s, brought together by shared ambitions and a love for indie films and hiking. Liam, a reserved yet thoughtful architect, found comfort in structure, whereas Clara, a freelance graphic designer, thrived on spontaneity. Their differences had once created harmony, but now they felt more like fractures in a fragile foundation. Their 9-year-old daughter Sophie was a bright and curious child, inheriting Liam's calm demeanor and Clara's artistic flair. Life in their suburban home was stable, yet Clara often found herself staring out a kitchen window, wondering when the dull repetition had consumed her entirely. Liam's promotions at work meant longer hours, while Clara's freelance gigs had dwindled into occasional projects. Their conversations had reduced to grocery lists and Sophie's school activities, with laughter becoming nothing more than a memory tucked away in old photo albums. One evening, over a dinner of reheated pasta, Clara suddenly slammed her fork down. "Do you even see me anymore?" she blurted, her voice trembling. Liam looked up, startled. "What's wrong?" "Everything," she snapped, gesturing toward the cluttered living room. "We're stuck in this cycle. When was the last time we did something that felt like living, not just existing?" Liam frowned, adjusting his glasses. "Clara, I'm trying." Work has always been," she cut in, tears threatening to spill. Meanwhile, Jenna's husband surprised her with a weekend in Paris. "Paris, Liam. We haven't even left the state in years." He sighed, running a hand through his thinning hair. "We'll plan something. I promise." But to Clara, promises were just empty words meant to fill the silence. 2 weeks later, an invitation arrived, a glossy évite for a rooftop party hosted by Oliver, Liam's old college roommate. Oliver, the eternal bachelor, had just sold his tech startup and was throwing a grand celebration. Liam hesitated. Crowds were never his thing, but Clara's eyes sparkled with excitement. "We're going," she declared, and for the first time in months, Liam caught a glimpse of the woman he had fallen in love with. On the night of the party, Clara slipped into a crimson dress she hadn't worn since their anniversary 5 years ago. Liam struggled with his tie, then took a moment to admire her. "You look beautiful," he said softly. She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. Oliver's penthouse was dazzling, a maze of unfamiliar faces, champagne towers, and expensive decor. At first, Clara stayed close to Liam, but as the evening wore on, she gravitated toward a balcony, drawn by the city lights. That's where Oliver found her. "Clara Hart," he greeted her with a grin. "Still stealing the spotlight, I see." She laughed, though there was an underlying tension. "You've done well for yourself." "Luck and timing," he shrugged, leaning against the railing. Unlike Liam, always a steady one. The comment stung. "Steady isn't always enough," she murmured. Oliver raised an eyebrow, spoken like someone who's looking for more. The music swelled inside as he extended a hand. "Dance with me?" Clara hesitated, then placed her hand in his. Meanwhile, Liam stood in a corner, nursing a beer and watching Clara laugh with Oliver. A tightness gripped his chest. He had never been comfortable in Oliver's world, one of effortless charm and reckless extravagance. And as Clara twirled under the fairy lights, her laughter ringing through the air, Liam felt like a ghost in his own life. By midnight, the noise had become overwhelming. He pulled out his phone and sent Clara a text. "Heading out for air. Meet you at the car." No reply. Upstairs in the quiet of Oliver's bedroom, the distant bass of the party thumped like a heartbeat. Clara sat on the edge of the bed, her heels discarded. "This was fun," she admitted, though her voice wavered. Oliver sat beside her. "You don't have to go back to the same old routine." His hand brushed against hers. She didn't pull away. "What if I want more?" she whispered. Oliver kissed her, slowly, deliberately. It tasted like rebellion. For a brief moment, guilt flickered in her mind, but it was quickly drowned out by the intoxicating feeling of being wanted again. By the time Liam found her, she was adjusting her earring in the hallway mirror, her cheeks still flushed. "Ready to go?" he asked. She nodded, but something in his gaze lingered. The drive home was silent. Liam wanted to ask, "Who were you with?" Instead, he simply said, "Sophie's rig competition is tomorrow." Clara stared out the window. The weeks after the party blurred into strained conversations and unspoken accusations. Liam threw himself into work, spending late nights drafting blueprints, while Clara stayed out longer, citing client meetings that never seemed to appear on her schedule. Sophie noticed a shift. Her once cheerful questions about family movie nights were now met with distant responses and forced smiles. One afternoon, while folding laundry, Liam found a crumpled receipt in the pocket of Clara's coat, a $300 charge from a boutique hotel downtown, dated the night of Oliver's party. His fingers trembled as he turned to her, holding up the slip. "What is this?" he demanded. Clara's face went pale, but she met his gaze. "It's a mistake. It's not mine. Don't lie to me." His voice wavered, raw with emotion. She looked away, her silence speaking louder than any confession. Oliver's text flooded her phone. Playful emojis, late-night thinking-of-you messages. Each notification felt like a grenade. She convinced herself it was nothing more than a distraction, a fleeting escape from the monotony of her marriage. But when Oliver invited her to a gallery opening, she agreed without hesitation. Afterward, they slipped into a dimly lit wine bar. As Oliver traced slow circles on her wrist, he murmured, "You deserve more than leftovers, Clara." "What we had wasn't real," she whispered. "Then we'll make it real," he promised, pressing his lips to hers. This time there was no guilt, only the thrill of rewriting her story. At home, Liam scrutinized their shared calendar, noting the unexplained gaps. A pit formed in his stomach. He made a decision that made him sick to his core. He hired a private investigator. A week later, the photos arrived. Clara laughing on a park bench with Oliver, her hand tucked into his coat pocket. Liam stared at the images until his vision blurred. That night, he sat in the dark, an envelope waiting on the kitchen counter. When Clara walked in and saw it, she froze. "Is this why you've been so distant?" she asked, her voice cold. Liam let out a bitter laugh. "You erased us." Down the hall, Sophie's bedroom door creaked open. Clara lowered her voice. "I needed to feel alive again," she whispered. "You stopped trying." His voice hardened. "And you stopped choosing me." The divorce papers came swiftly. Clara moved into a sleek downtown loft Oliver had rented, promising Sophie weekend visits. But the promises faded, reduced to rushed ice cream trips squeezed between Oliver's plans. Sophie's drawings piled on Liam's fridge. Stick figures of 3 people. One always scribbled out. Oliver's charm wore off as quickly as it had captivated her. He started missing dates, canceling dinners, rolling his eyes when she mentioned Sophie. "Kids ruin the vibe," he muttered once, tossing back a martini. On a rainy evening, Clara showed up unannounced at Liam's doorstep, her hair clinging to her face. "Can I come in?" she asked. He blocked the doorway. "Why?" "I miss her. I miss you." Liam's jaw tightened. "You don't get to miss us after throwing us away." Months later, Clara sat alone in her half-empty loft, scrolling through old photos. Sophie's birthdays, Christmas mornings, moments she had taken for granted. Oliver had vanished after a fight about clinginess. Her hands trembled as she dialed Liam's number. "Sophie's recital is next week," she said. "Maybe we could go together like before." Silence. Then Liam's voice, steady, firm. "She's moved on. You should too." The line went dead, the finality of it echoing in her ears. At Sophie's recital, Clara lingered in the back, watching as her daughter beamed at Liam from the stage. When their eyes met, Sophie's smile faltered. Clara left before the applause faded. Liam rebuilt slowly. Weekends were spent teaching Sophie to sketch, their laughter filling the once empty spaces of their home. One evening, as they painted her bedroom wall a warm sunset orange, she asked, "Does Mom hate us?" Kneeling beside her, Liam gently wiped a smudge of paint from her cheek. "No, kiddo," he said. "She just forgot how to love us right." Meanwhile, Clara drifted through dating apps and meaningless encounters, chasing a fleeting high she had mistaken for happiness. But the men were all echoes of Oliver, charming, temporary, incapable of permanence. On a cold December morning, she stood outside Liam's house, watching the soft curl of smoke rise from the chimney. Inside, Sophie's mittened hand waved from a window before disappearing. Clara turned away, the weight of her choices settling over her like freshly fallen snow, cold, unyielding, and hers alone to bear. In the end, the echoes of would have drowned her. Liam, however, learned to find music in the silence.